Hello, friends. This is Nima. Welcome back. This is the second episode of my series One Color, One Stamp, and One Die. Uh, for this episode, for this card, I'm bringing VersaClaire Fine. This is an ink, and it's in black. And I'm using a stamp from Nelly's Choice. And I'm using uh, a die that it says thinking of you. It's one die, three words, but it's one die, so I'm not breaking my rule of one die. In this particular card, I'm stamping on the top the tree, and once I stamp that one, I'm gonna reverse, I'm gonna create a mirror image to stamp on the bottom. And the first thing that I need to do is stamp my card. In this case, I'm using a piece of paper that it is 6 by 8.5. This card will be 5 by 7. So I'm gonna cut it later. The tree will be on the top, and I'm using the acetate that comes with the stamp to line up my stamp to make sure that I stamp this in the right location. Instead of playing with the stamp, I use that same acetate that comes with the stamp. And the ruler that I'm using in here is to make sure that when I position the stamp, I position the stamp straight using that ruler as the baseline in there. Once I have the stamp in the right position, then I'm going to put my stamp on top of the acetate. And that way, when I close the stamping tool, the stamp will be attached and I have my stamp in the location that I wanted. Let's remove that acetate from there and ink the stamp. I need to make sure that I get a good impression in here, and I'm gonna stamp more than once. This type of ink takes a little longer to dry, and the tree is very dramatic. It doesn't have any leaf, it's just a lot of branches in there, but it is a beautiful tree. It's more like wintry type of tree, and I want this stamp on the top to be really, really dark. I need to let this dry before I create the bottom part. And to create that bottom part, I have covered the bottom of the tree, that root in there, because I don't want to stamp that part. I'm gonna add the ink. When I use the plate, the gel press is the brand that I'm using to do a mirror image. I need to make sure that my stamp has enough ink, and if I need to stamp um, this again, before I put it in the paper, it will be easy because I just have to clean the gel press. But if I have enough ink on my stamp, when I stamp on the gel press, as long as I don't move the stamp, everything will be fine. The gel plate is a little slippery, so we need to be careful not to wiggle the stamp. At this point, I got my impression, and it's like a good impression. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna flip this stamping block that it has the gel press attached, and I have a line, a very thin line that I drew in there just to use it as a reference. Where do I want my stamp to go in? And once I find the right position, I'm gonna press the um, the stamping block, and I see how the ink is passing, like it's darker as it goes in contact with the paper. And that's how I know that the ink has passed completely. I have a bunch of papers on the bottom because the glass surface is really hard. And when I work with glass surface, if I'm stamping directly in there, I like to have a little bit of a cushion. The impression was really cool, was done the right way. I actually have a different method to do mirror image for when I want to stamp um, side by side. In this case, in here, I don't mind if it's a little lighter in color because that's going to be on the bottom. That is the reflection where the water is. I have, you see me with a glove and with a finger wrap in paper because I need to do the background, and I try to use the foam, but then I didn't like the texture that much, so I decided to go with my traditional method, that it is that I wrap my finger in one tissue paper, and then I remove the excess first, and then I go and rub very, very lightly, very soft on top. I'm gonna start in the middle because that part will be the lighter, the darker one. Everything that I do on the top, I need to do it on the bottom as well. So this is a process that is gonna take a little longer. That's one of the not too good things about using this method in here, but I like it because I have a lot of control with this method. Maybe because I've been doing it like this for a while, especially when I didn't have any of the foam or the brushes. So I'm gonna start in a circular motion going around. Uh, on the top, on the bottom of the tree, in the middle, I'm gonna have an area that is gonna be white. So I'm gonna go around that area. I want that area that is white to bring that tree to the foremost area. So I want the tree to stand out, and it's gonna be like I say, like a wintry scene. So I'm going around this area. This is gonna take a little while. So I'm doing all the top, and then I'm gonna go into the bottom. So what I want to do is to create that shadow around that white area. That same white area will be in the bottom. Um, and I'm going to continue building up these layers, adding more and more of the ink around the tree. The process is going to take a little while, so I'm going to add some music, and I'm going to let you go through all this. If you want, you can um, jump to the next part. At this moment, what I want to do is create some lines over the reflection just to simulate the water ripple. And I'm using my nail. I picked a little bit of the ink and I do lines from left to right, very soft lines, but they can lines that they can show. And I'm doing it over the bottom part. I'm also using the same technique to draw the line and make that line between the ground and the water very well defined. I'm doing just the last few details, and once I finish with this, I'm gonna let it dry to proceed with the next step. I cut my picture 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I added a mat. I'm gonna add a mat in here that it is just slightly larger than the card. I added like a 1/8 of an inch to that measurement that I gave you. Once I have everything glued in here, the only thing that I have left is to add the sentiment. And for the sentiment, I cut the die twice using 110-pound cardstock. I wanted to have it really thick, but I also stacked them. Um, I wanted to stack them together so it will be thick enough so it will show even when it is on the white part. Thinking of you is the message from the die cut, and I'm building them in 3 lines. And this is my card. I use one color, black, or Nocturne is the official color. I use one stamp from Nelly's Choice, and I use one die from C6, and I have my creation in here. So I hope you like the card, and I hope you come back for the next one when I'm gonna be using a different color, a different design. Bye.